Do you ever wonder what you would be like if society didn't tell you how to be? Because I do all the time. Hi friends, I'm Jenica Hill. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, which is all about embracing and celebrating your full magical self. Because you, my friend, are magical. If you're new here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. In today's video, I will be talking about childhood signs that I knew I was bisexual, signs which I promptly ignored. I'm going to talk about two kind of overall signs and then try to unpack them here with you. Full disclosure, this video is very scary for me to share, because I think some of the shame I heaped upon myself as a child is still inside me, and yeah, it's scary. But I'm going to share it anyway because, number one, as Glennon Doyle says, we can do hard things. I can handle it. I'm going to link to her book, Untamed, in the description of the video, not because anyone asked me to, but because it's just a gift to you if you haven't heard of it or read it. It's an amazing book. Thank you, Glennon. And number two, if you are going through anything like this or have in the past, I don't know, maybe we can heal together. Shake it out. And here we go. For some background information, I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s in Boise, Idaho. I look at kids today, makes me sound like such an old lady. I'm very impressed with how tolerant I see people being and how Gen Z is much more understanding of the fact that gender and sexuality are fluid. And that's amazing, but that was definitely not my experience. I loved growing up in Boise. I didn't live in a huge city where it was really progressive ideas were, like San Francisco or something. I lived in a place where people tend to be pretty religious and, no place is like backwards, right? But it was just a different time. Yeah, that's what you should know. It was just a different time. I'm very grateful that the world is like that today, because probably I wouldn't have even been able to come out myself if it wasn't. So I'm very thankful to all the people who have been brave for so long and now are creating this new world of more accepting humans. Way to go. Okay, first sign. Now this sign is a little bit tricky because it has more to do with expression of gender than it does about sexuality if you look at it from the outside. But for me, because society basically told me how to behave as a female, it does have to do with my sexuality as well when I look back on it. I was the brand of child that people called then a tomboy. Even though in preschool I did have a phase where I would only wear princess dresses, then I went through a much longer phase that I'm still kind of in, where I was way more into clothes that would be marketed to young boys rather than girls. I was very athletic. I wanted to be even more athletic than I was. I kind of wanted to be a boy. I remember I had this friend who was so good at soccer, and I always wanted to be like him. I just wanted to be like that athletic and strong and be able to get really dirty. And like girls can do that, and especially when they're young. We're not taught that we need to be more feminine, usually until a little bit later. I didn't like to be called cute. I would only let people call me cool. And I was very, very staunch about my hatred of the color pink. I remember this specific moment in elementary school. We were in the bathroom. I can see it now. It's like an orangey tone in the bathroom. I was with a group of girls and we were talking about favorite colors or something, and I was like, I hate pink. And I think a couple girls were like, me too. And then one was like, why? And there's nothing wrong with pink, and I love pink now. It's not the best color for my skin tone. I look back on that time in my life and I see this little girl who was taking a stance against an expectation that was being put on me. Okay, and I liked playing with dolls. I liked Barbies and stuff. There was this part of me that wanted to be more boyish. I didn't have any body dysmorphia, don't get me wrong. I just wanted to, I think, take a stance against gender expectations in a way that, looking back, sort of feels like my first foray with, I'm not what everyone wants me to be. I'm a little bit different. And it's not like there weren't other girls like me in my school. It's just that when I look back on home videos, my parents gave me old home videos for Christmas on a flash drive. Best gift ever, but it's so weird to see yourself as a young kid, especially when memories in your mind were so different than what you see as an adult. You're like, oh, I thought I was much more confident. When I look back at that little girl, I'm like, oh, she just didn't know who she was, and she just wanted to like embrace herself, but it was hard because society was telling her one thing and then her head was telling her another thing. I want to make clear too that my parents embraced my tomboyishness. My mom, I think, was a little mortified because I wanted to wear this like red sweatsuit to school every day, and I begged for a sweatsuit like way before the trend that's happening now. A red crew neck sweatshirt and red sweatpants, and I wore those as often as my mother would let me, but she's a very fashionable woman, so I think it mortified her in that sense, but otherwise she was accepting of my wardrobe choices. Whew, okay, sign number 2. This sign is much more linked to sexuality directly. When I was an older child and into my preteens, I was infatuated with female celebrities. And my friends at the time were super into like Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Hanson. And I just remember I would say things like,
they're just not my type.
Because I probably heard that in a movie somewhere. I remember thinking like, I don't think they're cute. Is something wrong with me? Like, why do I not think these boys are cute and everyone else is obsessed? And NSYNC and stuff, like, no offense, y'all, NSYNC, Hanson, JTT. I actually read that he doesn't like being called that. But Jonathan Taylor Thomas, no offense to any of you, your talents are celebrated, you're awesome, you're very attractive men. I just, didn't have a thing for them, and I thought something was wrong with me because all my friends did. Instead, I already talked about my obsession with Kate Winslet. And if you're thinking, when did you talk about Kate Winslet? What? Please go back and watch my very first vlog about my bisexuality. I was so angry when she didn't win an Oscar for Titanic. I can't even tell you. I was livid. I also had this huge crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I remember specifically watching the movie Can't Hardly Wait in the living room with my dad. And he had the movie playing, and I was just kind of half watching, and then I was watching. And I remember this moment where Jennifer Love Hewitt like walks into the high school party, and it's like her hair is like blowing in the wind, and everything stops, and the guys look at her and they're like, whoa, and the girls look at her and they're like, eh, and jealous. I was mesmerized by her. And I remember feeling like these butterflies and feeling really uncomfortable by that. I was like,
what am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? Why am I obsessed with her?
I felt that way about a lot of female celebrities and like girls in movies. And I must say, I understand the fact too that the movies objectified women back then, more even than now, but they still do. And so women were meant to be the objects of people's affection in these movies. However, I definitely felt shook by some of these women. And I remember like Jennifer Love Hewitt, I had an ongoing crush on her. There was some Disney movie where the VHS had a preview of her singing a song. I don't remember what it was for. I would like replay it, like rewind, replay. And then, that movie, Heartbreakers, later on. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. Anyway, I was obsessed with her, and I did not know what that meant. And every time I felt this way, like the little butterflies and stuff, I just remember, like, once I knew what the word was, I thought,
am I a lesbian?
And even now, remembering how I felt, I was terrified. I knew from what I'd seen in society, not really from my parents, because they have always been really accepting people. I don't think they ever said anything bad about being gay or anything. But I just understood that if you were gay, you were like an outsider. back then, especially in Boise, Idaho. In my high school, there was really only one guy that I remember being really out and proud of being gay, and he was like the gay guy. Everybody labeled him that way, and kudos to him because that's so brave to do that before it's cool or really accepted in society. And also kudos to all the people who were not out, who were dealing with that pain every single day. But I did understand at that time that it just wasn't gonna work for me to be a lesbian. I was like, I can't be a lesbian because I won't fit in anymore. I didn't really have crushes on girls my age. It was more like I would idolize girls that I knew who I thought were very pretty and smart, but I just always found women so mesmerizing and interesting. And I feel like when I had crushes on boys young, it was more that I was doing it because I thought I was supposed to, and maybe I thought they were kind of cute. If a boy would like me, I would just be like,
oh yeah, you're cute, okay, I like you too.
and I remember when I was like 4 or 5, I had this preschool best friend. When I was so close with him, people would be like, oh, do you like him and stuff? And I didn't really. I just, like, I was his best friend, but I thought, oh, I need to like him, right? So I remember writing in my journal, like, I love blank, I love blank. I'm not gonna name him because I didn't ask him if he could be in this video. But I remember writing, I love him, and putting my name and his last name, together, and then announcing to everyone,
I love him.
It felt more like a performance than reality. So that was my youth. And then when I was older, I think when I actually went through full-on puberty, I did start liking boys. I remember my first real crush on a boy, he totally rejected me, was in middle school. And once I actually started really liking boys and being like, oh yeah, I feel the butterfly thing now about them, I was so relieved. I was like,
Okay, cool. Oh, I'm fine. I'm straight and it's no problem.
I just kind of took that part of me that was infatuated with women and just shoved it deep in a box. And I locked the box and I was like, cool, that's a box. Didn't look at it again. It like absorbed into my cells or something. I don't know. And I just never thought about it again until I was in my late 20s. So, why did I ignore these signs? Okay, well, I didn't even know that being bisexual was an option. In my socialization, what I had seen, what people had told me, all I had ever heard about bisexuals was bi now, gay later. And my friends would laugh about it. What a stupid phrase, by the way. Ugh. So in my head, like, if you're bisexual, you were just lying and you were just gonna be gay. So I didn't even know that I could claim that. I didn't know I could be like, yeah, I'm actually attracted to boys and girls, and isn't that fine and great? Nope, not a thing. I had basically decided that I had to choose one, and the choice was very obvious to me for all the reasons I mentioned before. It was just easier to hide that part of myself because I wanted to fit in. I knew that if I was not straight and didn't live this heteronormative life that I was expected to live, then I wouldn't be popular or liked. I wasn't like one of the popular girls or whatever, not really. But I was accepted, and that was enough for me. And I was like,
If I can either be accepted or invisible, that would be great.
it wasn't in me to take a stand at that point. The kids who come out as anything different than the mainstream are just warriors in my mind. I do wonder what it would have been like if I came out when I was young. And, I think my parents would have accepted me and loved me and embraced me. I don't think it would have gone well at school. When I did finally realize that all of this had been so bottled up inside me, it was very painful because it felt like this little girl part of me was kind of like growing finally and popping out, like literally clawing out of my self. It makes me sad to think that I wasn't able to be my full self. And it's not really anybody's fault. It's just kind of the way it was. And I tend to think that things happen for a reason. I think even if I'd come out as a young person, I still would have met my partner now and because he's my person and my soulmate, and I really believe that. And I think we were meant to be partners in this journey together. But, you know, maybe I would have explored that side of me earlier. But now I am. And that's great, and better late than never, I think. Now I feel so empowered to just be myself in all kinds of ways. Like, I just started to feel more me than ever. And I realized I've been hiding for so long in all areas of my life. Even though I put on this mask of very happy-go-lucky, I was very scared of a lot of things. I was scared of really being me and taking up space. I never really stopped liking men's clothes better than women's clothes traditionally, because I personally just think the clothes marketed towards men tend to be more attractive. I just like them better. But now I do feel more comfortable sort of exploring my masculine side, and I hope that everybody can explore all sides of them, all aspects, masculine, feminine, whatever. Do you ever wonder what you would be like if society didn't tell you how to be? Because I do all the time. We'll never really know the answer unless we do some experiment where like nobody is told that they need to act a certain way, but what kind of society would that even be? I don't know. That's a way bigger question than we have time for today. Point is, here I am recognizing my bisexuality now, so the child me, like, I'm nurturing that child. I'm like, you were great then and you're great now, baby. It feels really, really good. Well, there you have it. Childhood signs that I was bisexual that I promptly ignored but now embrace. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please do subscribe. I would love to have a discussion with you in the comments. I hope we can all heal together. Let's talk about it if you're comfortable, and please be kind to each other if you do end up commenting. And hey, most importantly, go out and be your full magical self today. The world needs you just as you are.